What you see on your screen at this time is a reminder that this advisor webcast is intended for informational purposes only. Any features or functionality described for Oracle's products remains at the sole discretion of Oracle. Now, let's get started with our presentation. Walter, if you're ready, I'll turn the webcast over to you and you can begin.
Thank you, Pam. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for attending today's Advisor webcast. My name is Walter Jr., and I work in the Oracle Proactive Support. Today, we will be discussing Siebel Remote performance tips and links available for our Siebel customers. I'm sure some of you are aware of all these steps. If so, I hope to show you some new functionality you may not be familiar with. If you are not aware of these steps, then you certainly will find them to be extremely helpful. I hope you will take advantage of these tips. In my role with Oracle, I work directly with customers, helping to resolve complex problems that cause business disruption. I understand the pain points our customers encounter. The steps I'm about to explain can help alleviate some of the pain points running Siebel Remote. In this slide, we can see our agenda for today. And today's agenda includes a description of our support mission, which is customer success. We will look at the value added of proactive support and how it helps us accomplish our mission through problem prevention, fast access to information for both support and you, the customers. We will take a look at sophisticated tools available to you through my Oracle Support, dashboards, communities, and other new features for my Oracle Support. And we will take a deep dive into Siebel Remote parameters to improve performance. The topics will be the transaction processor, transaction router, tips and links for improve the local database performance using parameters and commands, Sybase commands, and Siebel Remote health checks. In this slide, our mission is the customer success. Customer success is the primary focus of Oracle customer service. We divide your expectations in three parts. We drive higher business value through better software utilization and productivity. Analysts are focused less on troubleshooting and more in the business at hand. The next step is lower cost of ownership, minimizing labor cost through better system management and maintenance across the entire IT solution lifecycle. Reduce IT asset cost through problem prevention, and lower business risk, eliminate business disruption, improve change management, enhance security, leverage best practices to optimize the results. How can we complete this mission and hit these key elements? We do this through a shift to a proactive support model. I will take some minutes to discuss and show to all of you a little bit more the proactive support. Oracle Customer Service is dedicated to thinking in a proactive manner. Some key activities of the proactive are knowledge management. We have a continual focus on making search easier, recommending links based on problem description. In general, our knowledge management area is more robust and user-friendly than it ever has been. We will introduce some new document types like information center, master notes, when you can discover and find out a lot of issues in just one document to serve as guides for some products, for example, in Siebel Remote. We deliver technical webcasts like this. Siebel has several in the pipeline. We are proactive by providing customer communications to keep you informed of new technologies and support offerings. There are new newsletters, e-blasts, Twitters, LinkedIn groups, etc. There is a particular LinkedIn group called My Oracle Support, Siebel CRM, on LinkedIn webpage, just with news about Siebel products. If you have a time, please join us. We also have proactive with our Oracle communities, providing acknowledgement to customers through direct contact with subject matter experts. Siebel has several communities which we will take a look at later. There is a community in my Oracle Support that we can see and check to try to improve and to answer some easy questions like certifications and configuration problems. Well, goal of being proactive. What if you could be proactively notify of impending problems? As I mentioned earlier, I have been a member of support in various capacities for over 10 years. In that time, I have been involved in many instances where some proactive measures would have prevented a problem. For example, when you have a Siebel object manager is a kind of component is highly configurable. We have a health checks that in place check the object manager, for example, call center, from object manager for remote. That check if the recommended best practices is in place. One example is the ratio of max tax and max empty servers in OM process. The second is get your question answered on various topics from SMEs. SMEs are the experts in the Siebel areas or Oracle areas. We can access Siebel communities, for example, where you can post questions and join discussions with subject matter experts or take part in the technical webcasts. Quickly identify changes that have taken place with a system. What if performance was fine last week, but when you step into the office, one day it's poor? Users are complaining that applications take long to return a query or drill downs take forever. We have designed some Siebel Oracle specific health checks to make sure several critical Oracle optimizer parameters are set to the recommended values. We will see an example of the health checks from Oracle database setting correctly and associated with health check returns alert to you fix the problem. Easily review your Siebel system. You can use Oracle Configuration Manager or Health Checks to check your Siebel system, host an Oracle database instance, and drill into components and other areas of your system. There is another webcast recorded to all about the OCM, Oracle Configuration Manager. I can pass the numbers after this call. Share knowledge and common practices with other customers. You can join several communities where you can share your experience with other customers who work in the same industry and use the similar tools. This is certainly a lot of information, some intriguing concepts as well. We have not had a single portal where you could find all this information, but now we have the new version of Oracle, My Oracle Support. Oracle Support is the next generation support platform that simplifies and enhances the customer experience. Personalize the support. We simplify your support experience by providing a single, comprehensive and personalized dashboard of your service requests, configurations, and projects. We have an extensive knowledge base available that we continue to improve and provide the ability to organize your favorite knowledge articles and provide a list of your most recently searched documents. We provide a collaborative support environment to support communities, direct connection to Oracle experts, instant access to a vast network of people and knowledge. My Oracle Support is integration with Enterprise Manager as well as your on-demand offering. Some of key proactive support offerings are provided through the Oracle Configuration Manager. By sharing your configuration with us, you receive proactive advice and health checks driven by Oracle best practices health checks, better recommendations, ability to track your systems with reporting, capability reports, HR priority handling. Well, this is just an introduction about all the new functionalities in Oracle proactive support that we have in place now, and I would like to start our presentation about Siebel Remote performance tips and techniques. Well, the first slide that I am showing to all of us is about the flow, the remote flow from local to the server database. In this slide, you can see how the updates, the change from the mobile client comes to the server. In the mobile client side, customers do all the transaction changes like updates, deletes, inserts. It is recorded in the local database, and after that, remote engine create a new DX file on outbox from user. After that, when you try to synchronize the mobile client, server gets all these DX files and transaction merger, process and insert all the changes inside Siebel Enterprise Server. It's a easy functionality, and we don't see many problems, performance problems, talking about this kind of flow, the synchronization from mobile to server. You can see in some slides that you can face problems with local database and how to prevent. The next slide, I can show you just a brief introduction about what happened in the opposite. The changes are sent to server, from the server to local. All the changes in the Siebel database server are recorded in the master transaction table. The table is called s.txm logged. After all the updates, deletes, inserts are made in the Siebel database server and put on the master transaction log, the transaction processor will read this master table and create all the DX files, generic ones, to the docking TXM proc folder. After that, the responsible to check all the transactions and create the DX files to all mobile clients, checking, for example, visibility, if a manager has access to some data, what data customer can see and cannot see. This is the responsibility of transaction router. This, I think, 90% of the performance issues with remote are in this parameter, in this process, transaction router. We can improve the performance, changing parameters, and do some tips about transaction router. Just for complete the flow, after transaction router generates the right DX file, they put in the outbox of every user. The performance depends on how many users do you have in the remote system, because we need more routers to process this kind of requests. And finally, the synchronization manager will send it to mobile client, to inbox into the mobile client. Well, let's talk about the performance issues with Siebel Remote. After checking the flow from server to local and the local to server, we reach to the most common performance problem using Siebel Remote. That is transaction router. Just a brief introduction. The transaction router takes transactions from docking, TXM proc folder, and constructs the DX files, and send these DX files to the outbox corresponding to the appropriate mobile user. He also checks and validates all docking rules to certify that a particular record is visible or not to every mobile client. This can be, in this part, we can see performance issues. The performance issues, as I said, it's common with router components, and if you use large batch AEM position change realignment, can affect the router performance. The advice when you need to do something like that is to try to stop a remote environment. For example, we need to run a batch, AEM batch. The advice is try to create a window to do that, for example, during one weekend, and stop the remote process, do the AEM batch, and after that start the remote again, to avoid overloading the transaction router, because router should verify all the transaction if it's visible or not to all the mobile clients. This is the first step to verify. Some advices about transaction router. This is the basic ones. One of the recommendations on support side is try to extract mobile clients with a huge backlog and help a lot in the router performance. Sometimes you have, for example, 1,000 mobile users, but just 150 mobile users have a huge backlog to send transaction to them. We can check it running SQL statements directly inside the Oracle Siebel server database. I will show you the correct SQL to be executed and to get all the number of transactions that every mobile client has to process. Another advice is to have a multiple transaction router into your Siebel remote environment. By default, every transaction router can process 200 mobile clients. Savior. One example, if you have a remote environment with 500 mobile clients, you should have 3 transaction routers running at the same time to avoid performance and avoid a huge backlog to router process. Another common advice deal with transaction router when we face some performance problem is checking, first of all, the paging file size of all the Siebel servers. This Siebel server machine has 1.5 times the amount of memory, the physical memory, at least, to avoid problems with memory on the server box. Another tip that transaction router highly use is the CPU. Monitor the CPU and memory usage on the Siebel server and database server machines for high utilization of either resource. The second tip here on the transaction router is change the parameter, the transaction router component parameter, IDDB size. The recommended value is 409,600, the maximum value. It's enough for most of the Siebel remote environments. I think 99% of the environments should run with this IDDB size. And the node division factor equal X is the number of transaction routers that you have running right now. For example, in the last example that I used, we have one remote environment with 500 mobile clients. The advice is to have at least 3 transaction routers. If you have 3 transaction routers running at the same time, your node division factor should be 3. In this slide, we can see some brief description about the IDDB size. IDDB size specifies the size of the shared visibility database, and the maximum is 409,600. Do not increase the size of the IDDB size above this number, and the X is equal to the number of transaction router tasks that will be running on that particular application server. The first transaction router task should be started with the additional parameter called IDDB recreate. After you start the first transaction router, wait for this file to be created, sometimes, 5-10 minutes, and start the other transaction router with IDDB create equal false. This will recreate this data.dbf with the increased size above and can improve transaction router performance most of the time. Just a reminder, subsequent transaction router tasks can be started once the defaults have been set at the component level. Another reminder here is starting up in Siebel version 8, both transaction processor and transaction router use the shared visibility database, visdata.dbs. Please make sure that the IDDB size parameter is the same for both components, because we have the same parameter on transaction processor and transaction router, starting from Siebel 8. The idea is to have the same value on the 2 parameters to avoid problems. Some more advices about transaction router is very often twice a week, for example, monitor transaction router performance to run the following SQL statement below on the presentation and run every 30 minutes on Siebel server. This SQL provides, most important, the number of outstanding transactions to be routed to each node, along with the time when a particular node was last routed to. This SQL is very important because we can check how many transactions we have to route. And doing this SQL every 30 minutes, we can see the progress. For example, routers are processing 100 transactions every hour. We can have a clue how many times we expend for transaction router clean up all the backlog. It's very good when you open a performance issue with support, send at least 2 outputs from this SQL to show how your Siebel remote environment is working. Okay. Now we can jump to the other common problem running Siebel remote and local database. Is local database performance. 99% of the customers running Siebel remote has the default Sybase database, local database. One of the first tips to improve the performance on local database is to use the command on iSQL called drop optimizer statistics. This command will update all the statistics from local database and it improves 10-15% of the performance in the local database, depending on the size of mobile clients of the local database and how type of data you have in the local database. Another good advice for local database is to change parameters from the local database startup. It can be done in the Siebel CFG file inside Siebel folder. It's called cache size. The Siebel database cache size can be increased by using -C option, command line option in Siebel CFG. For example, -C 16M allocates 16 megabytes of memory to cache. Just a reminder, please note that the allocation more memory to SQL may significantly reduce the amount of memory available for other applications. But it's a good idea to change these parameters depending on the size of the local database. Try to put twice the phone number that I think is still 16 megabytes. Another good tip that it's a new feature is called the Oracle Health Checks. We have the Oracle Health Checks for other products, not just for Siebel. We have for Siebel, for Oracle Database, for DD Edwards, for Business Suite. They are best practices and parameters, recommended parameters by support and engineer to alert you to have this set to avoid performance issues, hangs, sometimes crashes on the Siebel application. If you are running, for example, OCM, Oracle Configuration Manager in your instance, in your environment, the health check will automatically show you what is the best parameter for your application. If you have time, please take a look on the Oracle Configuration Manager. It's a good tool to be used and give you a lot of suggestions, good suggestions for your environment. Well, there are some Siebel remote health checks. One related to Siebel server, that is to consider setting node division factor equals to default text for the transaction router. If you're running OCM, Oracle Configuration Manager, and you don't have these two parameters set equal, you will receive one alert, for example, saying, hey, please put equal the two parameters because you can face problems. There is another health checks about Siebel Remote, some related to the Oracle, some related to the Oracle database. For example, consider setting the big cache size to a minimum of 400 megabytes. It's a best practice used. Shared pool size, there is another Oracle database parameters. Should be greater than or equal to 200 megabytes when SDA target is not set. They are all related to memory used by Oracle database. The big cache size is related to manipulation, data manipulation, how many memory is used to manipulate data. For example, make an update, make an insert. Shared pool size is more to parse programs or SQL statements. It's another part of memory used by Oracle database to do this kind of job, parse programs. Another tip of Oracle health checks about Oracle database is open cursos that should be greater than or equal to 1,000 or less than or equal to 2,000 between these numbers. All these parameters, even being Oracle database parameters, are related to Siebel as well. If you're running Siebel with Oracle database, please consider to have this parameter set as the slide recommended. And cursor sharing for Siebel applications should be exactly. All these kind of the documents can be found in the documents IDs in this slide. There are many of other details and information in the master note for Siebel CRM Remote. Or Siebel CRM Information Center is a place when we have a bookshelf, for example, new trainings, coming trainings for Siebel Remote. We have links to Oracle community. It's very useful too. You can ask questions to the expert and share information with other customers. Another good document to try to solve backlog and performance issue is the document called Diagnosing Transaction Backlog and Growing Number of Records and the master table. There is the table that contains all the changes made in the Siebel database server. It's a very good document to run the direct SQL statements on the Siebel database server, to check how many mobile clients you have, how many mobile clients, how many data you need to route to mobile clients. It's a good start to see how your remote environment is working. There is another one very used is the transaction router performance issues. You can see a lot of extra parameters in this document and try to improve a little more the transaction router performance. And the last but not the least is my Oracle Support Health Check Catalog. There is a lot of recommended parameters for Siebel, not only for Siebel, but for other Oracle products. But there is a lot of for Siebel Remote, Siebel Object Manager like Call Center. It's another good document to take a look and try to use. Again, if you're using Oracle Configuration Manager called OCM, all the health checks will automatically checking your environment and trigger one alert if you're running with not recommended parameter set. It's a good tool to take a look and check Oracle OCM. Well, I think this is the presentation. I think you may be helpful, and I can pass to Pam again to questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Walter. We hope everyone found the presentation valuable today. We'll open our Q&A in just a moment, so please use the chat feature or the phone lines at this time to let us know you have a question. Annalie, could you give instructions once again for those on the phone line?
At this time, I would like to remind everyone in order to ask a question, press star, then the number 1. We'll pause for just a moment for the Q&A roster.
And while we pause to compile that roster, I want to remind everyone of a couple of things. The first is, in the next 48 hours, I will be sending a PDF of this presentation, along with the download and streaming links to all those who have enrolled. So this is just a tip that if you see a webcast out there that's of interest, that you have a calendar conflict, go ahead and enroll for it anyway, and you'll be pushed the PDF and the download and streaming links within 48 hours after the live presentation. The second thing is I will post this out on My Oracle Support under My Oracle Support Training Central. If you're more comfortable with using doc numbers, this will be posted on doc number 740964.1. Again, that's 740964.1. All advisor webcasts are archived on that doc number. The third thing is, if you think of a question after we end today, just go ahead and respond to that email from me with the download and streaming links and PDF, and I'll forward it on to Walter to answer on a one-off basis. So with all that said, Walter, I do see some questions here. The first one is, does OCM require any license keys?
No.
No. Okay.
No, you can you can download the OCM from My Oracle Support and not require any license keys.
Okay. In version 8, shouldn't the IDDR encrypt for TP is true and TR should be set to false?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay. I see how it goes now. In version 8, shouldn't the IDDB recreate for TP be true and TR should be set to false?
Well, it's independent. We can use it to create this parameter in every or use it to create it in transaction processor or router. But the recommended is to use on the transaction router to create it, and in transaction processor keeping it to false. But doesn't matter. You can create using the two components, the or transaction processor or transaction router. The idea is not to have in both components the same equal true, for example. In one you have a true and another one false.
Okay. Unlee, do you have any questions from your audience?
There are no questions.
Okay, we have a couple more here. Are there any recommendations based on local database size? For example, if local DB is 200, what should be the cache size?
Well, the local database size, the recommended is the size of the local database is to have 100 megabytes or 200 at the maximum. But we know that a lot of customers has more huge local database. About the parameter of the cache, it will depend of how many memory you have in each desktop. For example, if I have a local database with 200 megabytes, the total. You can also put, 64 megabytes memory to allocate to the local database. But it will depend how many memory you have available on the desktop. It's a 1 million question because it will depend on every mobile client. But the idea and the recommendation is to start with 64 or 32 megabytes because now we have a lot of desktop with huge memory. But
okay.
There's no magic number here.
Okay. In our environment, we sometimes have a high volume of DX files. Is there a way to reduce the number of DX files that is routed to the users?
Well, there's a way to reduce DX files, but it's simply to, for example, we need to change the docking rules. And the only person who can do that is expert services, available service provided by Oracle. But we need to further investigate it because sometimes a huge creation of DX files can be AEM batches, can be position change. This kind of change, the recommendation is to stop Siebel remote. But yes, you can try to reduce working with docking rules, but billable service, and you need to contact your product, your representative from Oracle.
So can they do that with an FR, or do they need to contact a specific person? Okay. Go ahead, Raj. If you have another question, type it in. While we're waiting for Raj to type in his next question, I want to just remind everyone that this will be posted on my Oracle support document number 964.1. 740-964.1. Okay, I'm waiting for him to type in his question here. If you're on the phone lines, Anli, can you give instructions once again for the phone lines?
Again, to ask a question, press star 1.
So if you have called in, you can press star 1 and ask your question aloud.
There's a question from the line of Rajani Gunasetti.
Yeah, hi. It's Raj Gunasetti. Thanks for that. So I have a question for Walter. The question is, why would we encounter issues with respect to routing, let's say, when we are performing a huge alignment, and let's say there are only set of targeted nodes which are part of that particular alignment, because we know that all these transactions are getting routed, but there are some global transactions which are routed to all the nodes. So now my question over here is that, let's say I have 6,000 remote nodes, and my targeted audience over here are, let's say, 2,500. And why is it a problem if I'm not extracting the other nodes? Because I could see huge delays with regards to routing for all these nodes, wherein we don't have too much of a load, but still it's a big issue because I ran into one of such issues, and I was forced to re-extract all those nodes.
Good question. No, you don't need to extract all the mobile clients. If you, for example, check in the SQL statement that you have a set of mobile clients with a huge backlog for particular, for example, you need a territorial alignment, for example, you can just extract this set of mobile clients. No problem. We can avoid to extract all the mobile clients.
Yeah, but the recommendation at the time it was that we do have to go ahead and re-extract others because it was creating huge backlog even for the other nodes also. And even if you look at the task status of the router, it keeps on going with a weird message. I had similar issues with regards to one of the problematic DX file wherein it had a corrupted transaction and it was routed to across more than 3,000 nodes. I had to extract all those 3,000 nodes. So I ran into similar kind of issues, and I think it happened mostly in Siebel 8.x over here.
Yeah, the re-extract all the mobile clients, I think, is the last research that we have to clean up the Siebel remote environment. If you have DX files, corrupted DX files, you need to investigate deeper. But you can try to use this logic that you said. Try to re-extract just the mobile clients who have more transactions to be routed to them. But it's not 100% sure that it will solve your problem. There are many cases, and in some cases, support and engineer recommended to extract all the mobile clients. We need to check one by one. This is very difficult to say one best practice about it.
Yeah, because I think we were forced to create a trigger on a transaction log table for an update a particular kind of transaction before insert, and that took care of those kinds of transactions. So this we haven't encountered in 7.5, but after post-upgrade to 8.x, then we saw these issues.
Yeah. In this case, I think we need the only way is to extract. It's a pain point here. Extract all the mobile clients. No.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, Emily?
There are no further questions.
Okay, and I'm not seeing any additional questions on the chat feature. So just remember, if you do think of a question after we end here, go ahead and respond to that email from me with the PDF and the download and streaming links, and I'll forward it on to Walter to answer on a one-off basis. So with that said, I want to thank Walter and thank everyone for joining today's Oracle Advisor webcast. We hope you found this webcast valuable, and we look forward to you joining us again. Please enjoy the remainder of your day. Thank you very much.
This does conclude today's conference call. You may now disconnect.